people have no trust in it because it doesn't relate, and people can see the asymmetry and the imbalance, and they can see that sort of institutions that are supposed to work, that are supposed to regulate behavior between states and between players, aren't working. There is a different sense of who should be at the table. So everybody feels that people who need to have skin on the table have to be at the present, and the system is rigged in a slightly asymmetrical way. I think we're all losers in the current state of play. I think even the countries that are at the top of the table are beset by problems of their own, so that it becomes very difficult to function. And so one of the things is that even simple Security Council decisions can't be made. Imagine then more complicated climate change decisions or trade decisions. All of these become very much more problematic if you can't even deal with simple decision making, if there's no cohesion. And really we're living in a fractured world compared to where we were at the end of the war, I think. My sense is that you would need something fairly cataclysmic to change what we have. So you have to build on it, and you have to do incremental things. I know it sounds very weak, and some people like really dramatic change, but it's not, for me at least, I don't see that on the cards. I think it becomes really important to make sure that unilateral dropouts out of institutions, or people who are determined to make certain decisions more difficult and so on, have to be not isolated, but at least become irrelevant. And I think to some extent, the last year and a half, people are beginning to build the muscle that's needed to say we need to keep going forward. So I think one of the most important things we need to do is essentially find a way of having discourse and dialogue with people who may not, at least initially, agree with one. So you have to find a way of keeping the conversation open. And what we saw, I think, in previous years is a closing down of conversations. I think we need more neural relationships between networks. We need intelligence and communication and agendas to be shared, so that people actually aren't wasting their resources, are not duplicating effort, and are not making the mistake of making only one argument and not another. And we need to find common ground. And I think we gave some examples of where there may be common ground, where everybody in the world might be interested in having a conversation. Let's not start with the most difficult. I think it's a very natural rule of discourse. Start with where people can find each other and move to the more difficult areas. Don't start with the most difficult things, because you're never going to get anywhere.